Hello and welcome to ETH Insights exclusive interview series. Today we have with us Mr. Kinjal Choudhary. He is the Global President HR of Cadila. Mr. Choudhary, thank you for taking the time out and speaking to ETH Insights.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure to have you.
Same here.
Let me begin by asking you, tell us something about your organization and especially the HR department, your culture and your people.
Okay. As far as Cadila is concerned, it is a very result-oriented, target-focused kind of an organization which believes in innovation and doing things differently to achieve better results on a continual basis across all functions. So it is not just restricted to R&D or any one particular function, but our entire culture is based on doing things better, doing things differently, bringing innovation, bringing different way of operating so that we are always on the result, we are achieving the results all the time.
Right. When we talk about attracting talents, is there a particular strategy you put in place with regards to hiring and honing talents who can contribute to the betterment of your organization?
You know, it is very important to have the right fit.
Right.
It's not always to get the the best qualification or the highest qualification kind of a thing. Resume always almost does not say everything.
Right.
What is required is the culture of the organization, what the organization is looking for, so that we don't get a square peg in a round hole.
Right.
So we need to ensure that we have the right kind of fit. So we have a detailed competencies for various roles, and we try to see that we are getting the right competencies when we are interviewing a candidate. Right. So what works good in one organization may not work well in another. Right. So it is important to get the right fit, and that's what we focus on.
Right. So it's a very pertinent point to get the right fit. Just elaborating on that, when it comes to diversity, equity, and inclusion, what is the strategy that Cadila uses to get a diversified workforce in place?
So first is to create a business case for diversity.
Right.
Why do we need diversity? And that holds true for any organization.
Right.
Diversity is needed because we feel that our customer base is diverse.
Right.
So our doctors are diverse, which is one of our customer bases, significant customer base, and therefore we need to have a diverse kind of an employee base. What is required for that is first is to have empathy, and empathy is a very big word. What I mean is that in order for diversity to succeed, we need to ensure that people understand the mindsets of different sets of employees.
Right.
Now, diversity can be gender diversity, it can be generational diversity, and that's one of the challenges that we and many organizations are facing when we have people from 5 generations or 4 generations in the same workforce.
Right.
So to get to the understanding what is that different diverse population would look for, what would motivate them, what would enthuse them, what would make them committed, is something that is the first thing that is required. As far as inclusion is concerned, diversity without inclusion doesn't work. It becomes an in and out kind of a thing. If I don't feel included, no matter what is the policy of the organization in terms of a numerical percentage, it is very difficult to sustain it. So to make every employee, no matter what background or what gender or what generation the employee belongs to, feel included as a part of an integral part of the organization is very important, and that is the mindset that the leadership and everybody down the line need to have. As far as equity is concerned, when we decide on policies, when we decide on any kind of a program, we need to ensure that it is equitable to all. It may not be equal, but it is equitable so that people do not feel that there was a bias towards one set of population versus the other. So that is what we make it a very conscious policy to follow it, and this has been the the ethos, the DNA of the organization for several decades now. As I mentioned somewhere that even before the term DE&I came into parlance, the organization has been following it for decades in an unconscious manner maybe.
That's great. You just mentioned about Cadila being a result-oriented organization. So obviously when you are looking at results keenly, you have certain metrics in place to measure the effectiveness of your programs and your initiatives. So how do you go about it?
So in HR, what happens, I've worked in other organizations and I've seen HR in various places.
Right.
You know, where we make a mistake is we do initiatives for the sake of initiatives without defining an outcome.
Right.
The primary way in which we do HR here, and that is a very unique thing about Cadila, is every initiative has a very defined outcome which is stated and objectively mentioned right at the beginning, so that you know what target you have to achieve if this
Right.
initiative were to be a success. So when you have a quantified, measurable outcome, you know whether that initiative has succeeded or not with milestones built in.
Right.
Because many of the HR initiatives have a long gestation period. It doesn't get over in a few days or in a
Right.
few weeks also at times. So it is important to have the milestones clearly defined, have the end outcome clearly defined, so that we know whether we are reaching there or not and what mid-course corrections are required if we have to reach the goal.
Right, right. Along with this, what is very important is employees' career growth and professional development. So, as an HR department, what are the steps you put in place to ensure that these things are in priority and it helps an employee?
So that's a very important thing, because most of adult learning and development happens through on the job.
Right.
It's no longer classroom training. What is true up
Right.
to 20, 22 years of age is not
Right.
valid when one becomes a full-fledged adult. So our philosophy is to provide multiple roles within the organization.
Right.
So a person can join in one function. After 2 years, 3 years, the person can move into another function. We actively encourage people to move across functions, across different kind of roles, so that a person gets the opportunity to learn different things while
Right.
being a part of the organization. One doesn't need to go out of the organization to experience
Absolutely.
a different kind of a challenge. One can experience the challenge and learn while being in the same organization.
Right.
So, and that provides the best development that we have had. We have had cases where a person has joined in finance and today that person is heading a business.
Right.
So over the last 20 years, the person has moved across different roles, and today he is heading the business as a chief operating officer.
Right, right.
So that's how we kind of, we
Got that.
consciously rotate roles. We give opportunities to people to apply for roles that they would feel would meet their career aspirations, and that's how we try to do it.
Right. On that note, Mr. Choudhary, thank you very much for your valuable inputs. I wish you all the best for all your future endeavors. Thank you very much for
Thank
your
you
time.
so much.
It
Thanks.
was a pleasure.
Same.